Well, good day and welcome to another video. Today we will just be necessarily, let's say, another 10 letters. Yeah, another 10 letters. I did want to speak about the history of the letters, but I didn't want to. But I realized after that I actually need to just let me get through the letters first, and then we can proceed and speak about the history because we already started the letters and I don't want to mix it up. So, as we remember from the last time, just a quick recap: we did 10 letters, which was A, K, M, O, T, and there were other five. I'm not too sure what it is, but you can always go back and watch that video. Um, so yeah, today we're going to go over the next 10 letters. The next 10 letters. I'm pretty sure by now we know that the Russian language has 33 letters. So tomorrow we'll finish up the letters. I'll just do 13 just because, just to get it over and done with. There's no reason to carry it onto the next day for just 3 letters, right? So the next few letters are going to be very how can I say this? It's going to be very Russian like in a sense, where you cannot make a reference to it in the English letter as English letters, like we did have for the first 5 letters aka, ma, or the, which are similar in this English language. We won't be doing that. No, it will be very different, right? So, basically, what we're trying to do here is transliteration. And what transliteration is actually, in actual fact, is trying to make you understand and pronunciate and enunciate the letters in a more organized way so that you know what you're saying when you're saying what you're saying. And yeah, just so that you can get the feeling of how to pronounce the word in the correct way, without transliteration. You know how you would change, for example, if you are doing like a language that doesn't necessarily use the alphabet, for example, your Chinese, your Arabic. A lot of times people use transliteration so that you can actually pronounce the word, although you can't read the word in that specific language. And that's exactly what we're trying to prove and trying to do here. And that is your definition of transliteration. It's actually trying to get you're trying to say the word in the right way in which it is supposed to be said, right? So I'm going to put on my laser pen again, and our first letter here is B. B, right? So this one, you may say that it looks like the letter B in English, but I know there is no letter that looks like this in English, right? So this is our B, simply exactly like the English letter easy, an easy B sound, right? So when you see this, you are going to use it as a letter B. The interesting thing about the Russian language actually is that when you say words, you actually say what you see. Let me give you an example, right? So when I say that I am writing in English, there is a W in front of the R, in front of the R, in front of the letter R, but we do not necessarily say that letter. You understand? So I apologize for that. So when you are trying to when you are reading Russian, if you see a letter, if you see a W, well, there is no W, But if you see, for example, a k in front of a r, for example, you will say kr. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very straightforward. It's very easy to read. Once you understand what the letters mean and what they are, you will be able to read Russian words very quickly, right? So this is our first letter B, right? Um, right. So that is an easy letter. You can just always try and look for words where they have that letter B and try and listen to it. You know, it's very important that you actually listen to what you are trying to say, because as you may have noticed, for example, when you repetitively listen to a song, it end up getting stuck in your head, right? So the more you listen to Russian as a person that is trying to learn the Russian language, the more you will be comfortable, and the more you will be able to feel confident in the way you speak, in the way you say what you're saying, right? The next letter that we have is the letter V, right? It looks like English letter B, just the lack of this is the reason why it looks like an English letter B is because it's in caps, right? But we do not write in caps in Russian, so you won't see this letter, this big B, right? So this letter is letter V. You say V. Then we have this one that looks like I don't know. So let me try and do this. Right, right. So for example, how you would try and look at this to try and remember it is actually have something like this. Right. Remember it like this. So this is basically the same thing like this. It's just turned onto its landscape form, right? So the way I would remember this is just do that. And what do you have there? You have a gun, right? So I promise you, I'm not initiating violence or anything. But this is a gun, and this is the letter G, G, right? So how you would say it is G, G, G for gun, G for gun, right? Um, all right. Then we have our next. Let me try and erase this. All right. The next letter we have is letter D, right? This is D, D for Doma, Dom. Dom is a house, right? So this is a simple way that you could remember it. We can have something like this. In actual fact, this is kind of how you would write it. Okay, no, I'm lying. I can't write it very well here, but this is a way that you kind of would remember it. If you have something like this, then you know this is a door. This is a door for your house. Well, obviously this part is not going to be included into the letter, but I'm just trying to find ways in which you could like kind of remember the words, right? So it's a house with a little door there. So every time you see something like this, then you know this is a letter D, D, right? And this is yeah, right? This is the letter yeah. It looks like an English letter E, but it is yeah, right? All right. The next letter we have is yo, right? So here we have yeah, here we have yo. I'm pretty sure you can see the differences because of those two different, because of those two dots on top of the yo, right? Yeah, yo, right? So again, just if you practice and you get a lot of words and you read a lot of words, you get the hang of it, right? It's not that difficult to learn. So So we have our ye and our yo, right? How I would remember it is ye has that e at the end, and that is a plain e, right? And this one is yo. Yo. The o represents those circles on top of the e, right? So ye and yo. Okay. Then the next letter we don't have an equivalent for this one in English, but it's the letter j. So in the word pleasure, treasure, measure, that j sound, right? Yeah. So that is our letter j. This is our backward letter. This is okay. I was about to say it is a three, but it's not a three. It may look like a three, but it's not. That is z for zoo or zebra or здравствуйте, like the word that I taught you guys yesterday. Right? I hope you guys went and actually asked people to say that word. So Z for Z for здравствуйте. Right? And then we have this English backward letter E. No, English letter N backwards. Right? But in actual fact, it has no remnants to the letter N in the English language. So this is going to be our E. This is E, machine, E, meat, EC. Understand? So it's kind of like elongated in a sense. So what you would, how, yes, exactly, it's written there. It's two E's next to each other where you'd actually, elongate the sound of the letter E. And then we have this one. When you have a letter, this letter, with excuse, sorry for that. And you have that thing over there on the top that looks like a smiley face. All right. That, in actual fact, is trying to tell us that it is a shorter form of this one. So if this is meat, right, or C, this would be C. Like the Spanish, how the people, I'm not too sure how the people that speak Spanish, what C means. I think C means yes, but again, we're not learning Spanish. But that is just the simpler way that I could put it. So here you'd have C, and here would have C. So it's E. This is E. This is E. Right. So let us go back. This is our B, V, G, D, Y, Yo, J, Z, E, and E. All right. So, folk, that is all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe anyway. Thank you.